Hey everyone, it's Clay, Chris, and we are our special guest match leader with Magnolia Bank. He's the branch manager out here. We are actually standing on the rooftop of their office building here in downtown Fishers today. So we're excited to be here. Thanks for having us out.
You got it. Yeah, thanks for having us. So today we're going to talk about top 10 questions that buyers ask us about the mortgage process. So with Matt here to help, we're going to get right to it.
So as realtors, we often get asked a lot of questions about the mortgage process. I think it's something that a lot of, especially first-time buyers, have questions about. But the process has changed a lot over the years too. So even if you haven't bought a home for a while, these questions may help you. So we're here with Matt today to just really kind of dive into some of the top 10 questions that people have about mortgages. So I wanted to start with maybe the most popular one, which is, what credit score do I have to qualify for a mortgage?
Yeah, it's a great question, Clay. In most cases, your ideal scenarios, you're at least 620 or above credit. Anything above 700 is going to qualify you for the best programs. But we have specialty cases where we can actually go down to 550 credit, as long as we have extenuating circumstances and we can show that an unforeseen event caused it, okay, that maybe wasn't the result of negligence on the buyer's part.
Okay.
So I think the next biggest question after credit score is, what kind of down payment do I need?
Yeah, so down payments are going to vary buyer to buyer also. If you are a veteran or you're doing a USDA loan, you could get by with zero down. Okay. And on FHA and conventional, you're looking at either 3.5% or as little as 3% down on either of those programs.
Okay. So in addition to a down payment, borrowers are also going to need money for closing costs. Can you tell us kind of an approximation of what to plan for there?
Yeah, you've got, again, much like loan programs and down payments, each borrower and buyer is going to qualify for something different. We've got programs for people who don't want to come out of pocket with much money. We've got zero closing cost loans for those, and we've got others that maybe they would like to take points onto their mortgage and maybe buy their rate down or their payment down to make it more affordable monthly for them. So it just varies depending on the person.
So if they did that would make their closing costs higher.
Their closing costs would be higher and their monthly mortgage payment would be less.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm sure a lot of you have heard of discount points. I think the general consensus is that discount points are bad, but people still pay discount points, right? So what would be a situation where that would be to their advantage?
Yeah, so part of our job is to help borrowers understand and buyers what does make sense for their situation. And everybody's going to have a different one. For instance, if you are going to be in a home short term, discount points probably aren't for you. Buying a discount point means 1% of the loan amount. Okay. So as an example, on a $200,000 loan amount, 1 point would be $2,000. Gotcha. If this is a short-term home for you, you probably won't want to spend the money up front to get a lower monthly payment, because your break-even point on that is going to be sometime outside of probably 5 years. But if you, on a $2,000 discount point, if that helps lower your mortgage payment by $35, Chris, you're probably recouping that in 5 or 6 years.
Sure.
In which case, if this is your forever home, probably makes sense to do the discount points.
Okay, makes sense.
So the first step for any buyer that we talk to is always to get pre-approved, Matt, of course. Now, what elements do you look at when a buyer comes in and wants to get pre-approved with you guys?
Yeah, we always talk about the 3 C's, Clay, and that is credit, capacity, and collateral. And credit, obviously, most people know your credit score, which we've already talked about. Your capacity is your income compared to your debts. So in general speaking, we want that to be less than 50%. So as an example, if you make $6,000 a month gross income, you're going to want your debts to be less than $3,000 a month. And also going along with your capacity is going to be your assets. We're going to ask for 2 months most recent asset statements of your checking, savings, wherever your down payment's going to be coming from. And then third is the collateral, which is your down payment, how much equity you're going to have in the home once this transaction's closed.
Okay, going from that, can you tell us about how long does the whole pre-approval process take?
Yeah, that's a great question. Generally speaking, we've got an online application that you can fill out 5 to 10 minutes. It'll probably take you another 5 to 10 minutes to get your income and assets documents together. Okay. And from that point, it generally takes us about 12 to 24 hours to get your pre-approval done. Okay. And what we actually do with that's called our Magnolia's Buyer Ready program. And we're going to take your full application with your credit profile, we're going to put your income and your assets together, and we're going to put your file in front of an underwriter. And that underwriter is going to sign off on that loan. The only thing we're missing at that point is a house.
Sure.
So you've got this letter that is good as a cash offer, and that underwriter's sitting there with your file waiting on you to get a purchase contract, and then we'll just order the appraisal and the title at that point, and be ready to close.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. I know a lot of times the last thing we're waiting for before the closing table is the underwriter pre-approval. So to have that out of the way before you even write an offer, really speed things along.
The loan process in a lot of cases is the longest part of it's going to be your appraisal. Roughly 7 days to get the appraiser to go out to the home, another 7 days to get the report back. So you're looking at 14 days. Well, when you've been through the buyer ready process, the only thing we're waiting on then is the appraisal.
Yeah, that's great.
So I think another confusing thing for a lot of buyers is there's obviously a lot of mortgage programs out there. How does one know what mortgage programs may be best for them?
Yeah, I would say, again, different for every buyer, but as a maybe first-time home buyer, maybe you don't have your credit built up just yet, FHA is probably where you're going to be looking. If you are more of a established buyer, you've got equity from another home that you're selling and going to be buying, you've got a large down payment, your credit's built up, conventional is probably the way to go. And for our vets, obviously the VA program is second to none. So that's how I would look at it. But again, once you talk to your mortgage professional at Magnolia, we're going to walk you through that process and figure out which program makes the most sense for you.
And there's some niche programs and things on top of those, but those are the main three, correct?
Those are the big three. Yeah, those are going to make up 95% of all mortgage transactions.
Okay,
So.
perfect.
All right, so once you have your pre-approval done, and Clay and I take you out to find your house, you write an offer, how long does it typically take to close the transaction?
From that point, I would say you can plan on less than 15 days, generally speaking. If you haven't been through Magnolia's Buyer Ready program, I would feel more comfortable saying, 21 to 25 days for the most part. The biggest part is waiting on underwriting, and at that point, we're looking at about 48 hours, so not long at all.
Great.
And to kind of wrap up the questions, I guess, now that we've closed on the house, how do I know what my first payment's due? Is that always the same, or does it depend on when I close? How does that work?
Yeah, so your Magnolia banker is going to let you know the day of closing, how that's going to look going forward. But when you close, it's not the first of the upcoming month, it'll be the first of the following month.
Okay.
So, for instance, today, if you were to close in the middle of July, you're looking at a September 1st date for your first payment. At that point, you have 15 days grace period to make that payment, and you're actually not reported late to credit for 30 days.
Okay. Well, thanks for having us out today, Matt. We really appreciate your time and answering the questions. We're in the beautiful Braden building in downtown Fishers. That's where Magnolia Bank is located. So we also want to thank Braden for letting us use their beautiful rooftop deck up here. But yeah, thanks again for having us out.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you answering all our questions. I think we just have one more, maybe the most important one for you. How do we get a hold of you to start the mortgage process?
Yeah, that's a great question. We've got online presence at magnoliabankmortgage.com is going to be the quickest way for you to reach us. We do business in all 50 states, so state-of-the-art technology in terms of being able to get you approved quickly and be able to handle all your mortgage needs electronically.